Hi, my name is Joshua Wonpakim. I'm a musician and I'm a huge movie buff. In this lecture, I'm going to be talking about this film called The Pianist. It's about a Polish Jewish pianist living in Poland during the occupation of Poland by the Nazis. Yep, Jewish pianist in Poland during the time when Hitler was control of that shit. Featuring Adrian Brody as the main character, Władysław Szpilman. This movie is based on a memoir by Szpilman himself surviving in Warsaw during the World War II. But because I'm all about the originality, I want you to read the book before you watch this film. Because this memoir is historically accurate as it was written straight after Szpilman survived the Holocaust. Now you know what this movie is going to be about. It's a survival story. So why don't we go straight into the movie? This film starts in the year 1939 in Warsaw, Poland. This is where you get to hear him play Chopin Nocturne in C# minor, the main theme of this film. But out of nowhere, so both the German Nazis and Soviet armies start to invade Poland. This is when the Warsaw becomes controlled by the Nazis. In the 1940s, the Szpilman family and the rest of the Polish Jews get forced into the ghetto and things become extremely gruesome. Again, if you're under 15, gotta prepare for some gruesome scenes. Yes, these are the things that the Nazis did in the ghetto in real life. But according to his memoir, he was actually composing music in the ghetto, which we never get to see that in the film. The music that he has composed includes pieces like this and this. As a fun fact, this concertina was actually edited by one of the greatest Polish pianists known as Christian Zimmermann, who was the winner of the Chopin International Competition. It's the year 1942 and this is when the whole family is about to get transported on the Treblinka extermination camp. If you don't know what a Treblinka camp is, this is where they have gas chambers. However, one of Szpilman's friends drags him out of the group and doesn't let him go into the train, saving his life. So now we can assume that the rest of the family got onto the train or got killed in the Treblinka camp. So yeah, he survives by himself. Now it's all on his own. Later you get to see him, he becomes a slave laborer, but he sometimes helped other Jews smuggling weapons into the ghetto and later manages to escape and hide in different locations helped by non-Jewish friends. In this film, you first get to see Janina helping Szpilman because we saw her early in the film, and we can assume that they were close friends. But according to Szpilman's memoir, he first followed Andrzej Bojucki, who is Janina's husband. Janina is a Polish singer and actress, and she was married to Bojucki, who is an actor and singer, and he was referred to a Polish chevalier. But anyways, yes, they both helped him. But we get to see one of the notable events, including the ghetto uprising in 1943. But gradually, Szpilman is running out of food and water, and so he starts to starve. According to the memoir, he had to live like this for months. He was so bored that he had nothing to do, and he couldn't even practice piano at all. In this film, we get to see that he practices the Grand Polonaise with the upright piano silently, but spoiler alert, we get to hear this music at the end of the ending credits. According to Szpilman, he said he was having a hard time trying to be quiet, and so he learned how to cook. He self-studied English, but he was even planning to commit suicide when he gets caught or when he's unable to run away. Now, this is the year of 1944 when the Nazis started attacking the buildings, and in that same building is where Szpilman is hiding. Szpilman is now starving, he has nothing to eat, but then later we get to see that he finds a can of pickles, at least, in one of the abandoned buildings. But the problem was that he was unable to open the can. After many attempts to open the can, which was successful. So yeah, he finally gets caught by the Nazi. When I first saw this scene, I was dead scared.
Wer sind Sie? Verstehen Sie mich?
Ja.
Arbeiten Sie etwa hier?
Nein. Ich war Pianist.
Pianist. Spielen Sie mal.
The person who performed all the Szpilman performances, it was performed by a different Polish pianist named Janusz Oleniciew. He helped him hiding from another Nazi, giving him food, and even gave him his own coat to keep himself warm. Now, time went by. This is the year of 1945. This is the time when the Nazis have surrendered, and so Szpilman is free. But until the Russians started to open fire on him. He was wearing that Nazi's coat, so they were all assumed that he was a Nazi too.
No, don't shoot! I'm Polish! Please. I'm Polish. Please.
He's Polish.
Yes, he's Polish.
Why the fucking coat?
I'm cold.
In the next scene, you will be able to see the Nazi concentration camp, and guess who you would see? He tells him that he saved Szpilman and begged him to tell him that he's in the camp and asking for help. This violinist was never named in this film, but his name was Lenitsky, and he was a friend of Szpilman.
There was barbed wire, and this German came up to me.
You didn't catch his name.
No.
But eventually that Nazi died in a Soviet prison camp in 1952. This Nazi was named Captain Wilhelm Hossenfeld, and in real life, he did save Szpilman. After war, Szpilman comes back to his career as a pianist and a composer, and in the ending credits, we get to see him performing that patriotic Grand Polonaise by Chopin with the orchestra. Szpilman lived a long life. He had a family and he wrote 300 compositions. And he died at the age of 88 in 2000, just 2 years before this film was released. So now let's move on to the next chapter, comparing between the film and the memoir. There is just one particular scene that I really wanted to talk about that appeared in this film that I kind of questioned myself if this was real or fake. Now let's look into this scene. Yeah, so I know how to play the ballad because I played all 4 Chopin ballades live on stage for my final recital. So these are the examples of the other 3 ballades. more of these ballades. And so I know how difficult these compositions are. So after knowing what a ballade is, and when I came back to the scene again, I was like, what? A ballade? How can a guy starved for so many days and didn't get the chance to practice for so many years and will be able to play that difficult first ballade? So I was thinking he was starving, he was completely strengthless, didn't practice anything, and even he said that he was a pianist, but out of nowhere he can play the coda. So my question here again is that did Szpilman really play the first ballade in front of the Nazi? No. The answer is no. So was this scene fake? No, it's still real. The only thing that he didn't do was he didn't play the first ballade. He played the nocturne in front of the Nazi. Which to me made so much sense to me because it would be impossible to play a ballade when you're that strengthless and when you're trembling as shit. So to me, this actually made so much sense to me. But as a movie buff and a classical musician, I approve that this ballade is perfect for that moment, aesthetically speaking. Because not all movies are 100% true, even if they're based on a real life story. But there is this one thing that really pisses me off. Why did they cut out so much of that amazing moment of that ballade? But there is a full version in the original soundtrack of this film, The Pianist, of the entire ballade. I had to look into the screenplay to see what was a specific piece it was written for that scene. And it turns out it says, play Chopin. Honestly, I don't know if this is Olen Itzhak's idea, or the director's idea, or the film editor's idea. But there was this one thing that I was curious about. Is there a real recording of real Szpilman playing that first ballade or the Grand Polonaise? I have to be honest, I nearly cried watching that video. Besides that nocturne, I couldn't find any other audio recordings of Szpilman himself playing the first ballade or the Grand Polonaise. The only thing that I could find was himself playing the fourth ballade and the heroic Polonaise. But anyways, yeah. I must say this is one of the best films that you have to watch, and I highly recommend you to watch this. And now, speaking of the Grand Polonaise, I really loved that ending credits. And eventually when I was graduating my bachelor studies, I played this whole Andante Spianata Grand Polonaise for my final recital. Personally speaking, this film motivated me to play these pieces, and so I hope this actually gives the same effect to you guys.